So Rich, this happens every Féis where we always ask you to come up and say hello at the beginning and make sure that everybody knows that none of this would have ever happened if it weren't for you and all of the work that you did to teach Gaelic to people in Seattle after having done all the work of learning it yourself. You have inspired hundreds, if not thousands, of people to find something that is a precious thing for them to have in their lives, and we all thank you and honor you for that gift that you've given us.
Thank you very much. A lot of you weren't around at the very beginning, like Seamus and Penny and Dale and some others, but maybe I'll just give you a little brief sort of history. I used to live on Queen Anne Hill in Seattle, which is just above the Seattle center. And I was walking up a series of cement steps to where I live at the top of the hill after our Folklife festival in 1988. And I'd been to Folklife probably all 4 days, and I'd gone down to hear especially Celtic music, and there were a lot of people playing Irish dance tunes. There was very little Scottish music, and there might have been one small singing group that did a couple of Scottish Gaelic songs, but I was walking up the steps thinking, God, it's really a pity there's not more Scottish Gaelic stuff, because that's what I really was hoping to hear. And a year later, I got a call from a lady named Sheila Fleming, or Sheila Harris, who worked at Dusty Strings, which is a place in Seattle where harps and other instruments are made. And she said, hey, I'm going back to Oberlin, Ohio to go to a Clarsach workshop. And there's going to be a Gaelic singer there from Lewis, Christine Primrose, would you like to go? And I had one or two maybe of Christine's albums, and I said, yeah, absolutely. So that was in the summer of 1989, and I went back and I had a great time and learned a lot of songs, and I came back and I thought, I'd like to at least share these songs that I learned with people. So I called up a couple people that I thought might be interested, and they came and they sat on the floor in my apartment in December of 1989. And, I don't know, I had the cojones to decide to try to teach more than that. Maybe I wasn't, I don't know, I'm glad I did it. But I started doing Gaelic classes, trying to teach the Gaelic language. And that went along pretty well. And in 1994, I'd been singing in a band called Keltoy. I'd met people like Peggy McKinnon up in Vancouver. I'd been going up to the Ceilidhs in Vancouver. And in the spring of '94, I thought, I'm kind of tired. There's a 10 o'clock class and a 1 o'clock class, and then there's Keltoy rehearsal, and I'm kind of burned out, and I don't think I'm going to do it in the fall. And there were a few students, maybe 2 or 3, who were just at the point of maybe being able to read something really simple, simple stories, and I thought, well, let's get together with them on Saturday morning, and that'll be it. That's all I'm going to do. And then out of the woodwork comes somebody named James Gagne, and Dwayne Michael DeLuca, and Les Holloway, and Bob Combs. And before I knew it, I had this amazing class on Saturday mornings in the fall of 1994. There was a harper there, there was a piper there, and it would be a class from 10 to 12, and then the whiskey bottle would get opened up. And we'd all go out to lunch, and it was a Saturday Ceilidh. And the powers that be, I think, were saying, no, this has got to keep going. And in '97, was it, Seamus? We sat down, there were 5 of us, we sat down on the floor of my apartment and
drank like fiends.
Some things never change. Started filling out forms for the IRS and for the state of Washington and incorporating as a nonprofit organization. And in 1998, we had our first Féis, and this is our 7th Féis. So it's really touching, and it's really gratifying to me that I've had such stalwarts like Seamus and Dale and Penny and so many others. Please don't be offended if I don't mention your name. And to have made friends in Vancouver and Victoria of native speakers and other people who love Gaelic, who've supported us so much and who've had us up for the mod and have come down for the Féis. And it's a really dynamic thing that we have going on here. It's amazing, I think. And I just made a new friend on Facebook who works for the BBC and lives in Inverness, who's a Gaelic learner himself. And he said, oh, and we're writing back and forth on Facebook, and he said, oh, Seattle. There's a lot of Gaelic in Seattle. And that was wonderful. That was wonderful. So it hasn't been just me, it's been all of you over all the years, which have got us to this point tonight at the 7th Féis in Seattle. So I think we all should give everybody a big hand because it's a wonderful thing, and thank you so much for doing it.